What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an all right day today. It has been another wild and crazy week for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We have Silicon Valley Bank going under, Circle having exposure. We saw USDC actually fall right down to about 85 cents. It's supposed to be pegged to $1. So now people are freaking out saying, is this going to be a UST kind of Terra Luna thing all over again? So I just want to get into that and super quick, I am going to dive in. I'm going to get out of here. As you guys can see, I'm in the game room. I know a lot of you always ask about my pinball machines and my games. Well, this is it. This is the main room right here. And the reason I'm here is because they're literally doing construction in the main part of the house right now. And it is just so freaking loud, which is also why I'm getting this video out late. But I do want to hop in, you know, all kidding aside, let's have a look at what's going on, because right now we are sitting at a very critical level for Bitcoin. And I do want to let you guys know what I'm seeing in the charts and everything that's going on. There's a lot of FUD, a lot of misinformation out there. So I just want to kind of cover all that today. Hopefully this will be a little bit of a shorter video, but we do have some topics we need to go over. So if you do like these videos, even when I can't do them in the studio, drop a like, drop a comment, and let's dive in. So Bitcoin did briefly fall below $20,000. Currently, we are sitting back above it. And yesterday, we did have that major sell-off. And, you know, it was sort of one of those days where it sucked to see the price reacting like that. But at the same time, we did know that we needed to, number one, fill the CME futures gap, right? So we did fill that gap right here. And we also knew that there was this possibility of forming this falling wedge pattern, right? And it doesn't mean that we can't go lower, right? We still technically can go a little bit lower to maintain that uptrend. We could even go down to around that $18,700 level, or even wick down to that $18,300 level. But the thing I do want to point out right now is that we are actually at one of the most critical levels of support, because as you could see, this area, major resistance here, you know, and if we zoom in, what you could see that we're doing is we've had one test here, and now it looks like we've had a second test here. Now, both of these situations we did not fall under. So this is actually showing some resilience for Bitcoin, and we are finding that balance right here. And the reason that this area is also important is because if we go all the way back here, this was the previous all-time high, right? And you can see we had some resistance right here as well before that blast off, and that is exactly where we're holding right now. So that is good to see for Bitcoin. And the thing that is a little bit concerning, though, is to see that the stock market has actually fallen through its downward sloping trend. So even though technically, yes, this is bad that we've broken down out of that structure, we technically have not put in a lower low yet. We would have to go below this area right here. So, you know, that's kind of sitting at around 37.64, and we're still at 38.61. So technically, even in stocks, they are higher highs, but, you know, this move really wasn't that great right here. But getting back to Bitcoin, we are sitting at this very, very, very important 200 daily moving average. You can see we did get support. And generally speaking, you know, if you just kind of go back in Bitcoin's history, when we tend to be above it, we tend to be very bullish, and then once we fall below it, it tends to act as resistance, right? And it acted as resistance back here too, right here, right? So currently it is acting as support. So that is something that we do have in favor of the bulls. And of course, the most legacy support right here. We have one touch, multiple touches here. We dipped below it for COVID, never actually officially fell below. And as you guys can see right here, it did hold us for multiple weeks of support. So again, there is that possibility if we do break structure, maybe we do come down here, but ultimately that is the level to be looking for support. And of course, if you guys are, you know, potentially looking to make a trade, sorry, I still have my drawings on from before, you guys could see that we are at a very critical level for support right here. So again, not saying that we can't, you know, bounce around these levels until the apex out here in July. That would probably, that is a probability. You know, it would bore the markets, but ultimately, you know, you could see right here that we are maybe setting up for a miniature bounce reversal, depending on, you know, what the news and the CPI data comes out with tomorrow. And if we do have this money flow curving back up a little bit, and we get a little bit of a green dot trigger, or we get a, you know, anchor wave, trigger wave, then yeah, I would definitely say we can take that trade. So if you guys are interested in learning how to trade, make sure you check out the tutorial popping up above. And, you know, here's just like a super simplified version of what I'm looking at, right? This white line is the previous all-time high. And these are some of the major trends to pay attention to, with this legacy trend being the most important. And currently that has held. So you can see the significance of holding at that level, right? So let's talk about what's going on in the news today. So if you guys haven't heard, Silicon Valley Bank is facing a sudden bank run and capital crisis. And yeah, a lot of people are freaking out about this. They're comparing it to, you know, a Lehman Brothers type thing. And you can see that this bank specialized in tech startups. And it says that it provided financing for almost half of U.S. venture-backed technology and healthcare companies. It says while relatively unknown outside of Silicon Valley, the bank was among one of the top 20 commercial banks with $209 billion in total assets, right? And basically, they just had a classic bank run. So you can see right here, they say on Wednesday, SVB announced it had sold a bunch of securities at a loss and that it would also sell $2.25 billion in new shares. This triggered panic among investors, and the stock began plummeting. Now, compared to previous bank failures, you guys could see right here, obviously, this is the 2008 financial crisis. This is huge. So we had $32 billion, Indy Mac Bank, $307 billion, Washington Mutual. So this isn't the largest, but it's up there. It's definitely up there, and it's not good, right? It could potentially end quite bad. Interestingly enough, Silicon Valley's bank, by the way, their chief administrative officer also served as Lehman Brothers CFO prior to joining the bank. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, and not to mention, Just got to say it, got to throw it out there, guys. Jim Cramer, this guy was promoting and saying that, it would be a really good opportunity to hop into SVB Financial. So, again, Jim Cramer, whatever he says, right, just do the opposite. So basically, in a nutshell, we have Circle, and they put this out on Twitter. This came out 14 hours ago. It says, following the confirmation at the end of today that the wires initiated on Thursday to remove balances were not yet processed, 3.3 billion of the 40 billion of USDC reserves remain at SVB. Now, you could see that, let's give this a refresh live currently. All right, so it is starting to go back up, right? It's been going up all morning. This was around 85 cents earlier. You can actually see right here, here's the dip, right, where it came down here. Well, this is only actually saying 87, but I think it went to 85 on a few exchanges. So obviously, if we have a look at, basically this is scary, right? Because it's been stable, and then boom, we had this drop off. So a lot of people are saying, is this going to end up being a situation basically like what happened with UST and Terra? Well, no, most likely not. And we'll go into why, right? This is why I want to dispel the FUD. But it says Silicon Valley Bank is one of the 6 banking partners Circle uses for managing the 25% portion of USDC reserves held in cash. While we await clarity on how the FDIC receivership of SVB will impact its depositors, Circle and USDC continue to operate normally. Now, of course, people are like, well, of course, this is what they're saying. Of course, they're saying everything's okay. It probably isn't okay. Well, actually, it probably is okay. There was this thread on Twitter, but it was summed up a lot nicer on You Today. And this guy, Ignis, basically said that this is not like the Terra USD UST collapse in May. Now, something to keep in mind is that USDC is in fact backed 1-to-1, right? They do have the cash reserves for that. And I know you're saying, well, they just had this issue. We'll get to that in a second. Whereas Luna's situation with Terra USD, that was actually tied to a basket of different collaterals, including Bitcoin as well. So it was a little bit different. That was more like algorithmic, whereas this is just literally backed 1-to-1. And the reason that we're seeing the price move down right now is just because of the bank run that they went on, and also the fact that it's a weekend. Like, I know, crazy, right? Banks are closed on the weekends. So anyway, he goes on to say that out of the entire basket of assets that's backing USDC circulating supply, only 3.3 billion are stuck in Silicon Valley Bank, which is less than 9% of its market cap USD equivalent. But even this money can be recovered sooner or later through bank insurance procedures. As a result, the exact damage might be below 200 million, which is painful for USDC, but not that dramatic. Its issuer has enough short-dated U.S. Treasuries to cover the potential losses and reestablish the balance of USDC. The panic in the crypto markets is amplified by the decision of Coinbase to stop its USDC, USD redemptions, and Binance also disabled USDC to USDT swaps. It means that when the bank opens on Monday, arbitrageurs, did I say that right? Arbitrageurs? Yeah. Will restore the 1-to-1 peg for USDC, right? So basically, in a nutshell, it's just happening because it's the weekend, and like Damon says, basically, in a nutshell, 80% of their assets are in the form of 6 MNUST bills. 85% of these bills have been rolled over in the past 3 months. Interest rate risk is negative. If Circle wants, they can liquidate 80% of their assets at 99.9999% on par on Monday and give you back your cash. So as of right now, this is just looking like it's a lot of FUD. But the issue with the bank is not FUD. That's pretty crazy, right? And this is big. 209 billion in Silicon Valley. This is an issue. I don't know how it's going to affect everything. This is obviously more than just crypto. This is a bank, right? But, again, it just kind of feels like an advertisement. When you really think about it, it just kind of seems like an advertisement for Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't close down on the weekends. Bitcoin doesn't have problems because it's not a bank. So interestingly enough, though, we had Min Ling Tan say, I think Twitter should buy SVB and become a digital bank. And Elon Musk actually said right here, he said, I'm open to the idea. Very interesting, very interesting. So what else we got in news today? We have the United States SEC rejecting yet another application for a Bitcoin exchange traded product. Not surprised from VanEck's application. And again, they did have pushback from Commissioner Mark Uyeda and Hester Pierce, criticizing the decision not to approve the listing. Again, this goes back to the grayscale thing. Obviously, they don't seem to understand the difference in correlation between futures products and spot products. Spot products are better for the underlying asset. And yeah, I just, their argument is ridiculous, but I'm not going to go over this again. But, just to end on this kind of note that I was watching, there was this op-ed that said the pound's decline paves the way for Bitcoin adoption in the UK. And they say that global cryptocurrency adoption remains on course to reach approximately 750 million users by the end of 2023, according to AAA. Economic Secretary to Treasury Andrew Griffith spoke about championing cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to bring about future economic benefits. Griffith said he fully intends to turn the UK into an advanced financial center, which absolutely has room for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Yada, yada, yada. They go into a bunch of stuff right here. A post from the Treasury highlighted proposals to regulate financial intermediaries, including crypto exchanges, laying the groundwork for a friendly regulatory landscape. These steps will help to deliver a robust world-first regimen, strengthening rules around the lending of crypto assets while enhancing consumer protection and the operational resilience of firms. People are not happy with the financial system. That's basically, in a nutshell, people are not happy with the financial system. We don't have to go into this. So I think that all this stuff that we're seeing right now happening with the banks is just a big advertisement for Bitcoin. I am not scared. I am taking advantage of these opportunities to buy the panic, buy the FUD. Could Bitcoin go lower? Could we retest the lows? Absolutely. Anything could happen. But as I said, at the end of the day, the structure remains. Yes, it sucks to be down, 70% from the high, whatever. But ultimately, we are still on this uptrend. We are still putting in, ultimately, higher lows. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I hope you're having an awesome weekend. And like I said, ultimately, it sucks in the short term to see this happen, but you do kind of need that cleansing, unfortunately. And some of the bad actors, they will get pushed out. And ultimately, I think this is the biggest advertisement, really, just for Bitcoin in general. So that is it for me. Thank you so much. If you do want to learn how to trade, make sure you check out this tutorial popping up right here, right now. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.